From the start, HMS Queen Elizabeth was meant to symbolize the future of British naval power. But today, one of Britain's most expensive warships is often recognized not for its might, but for its growing list of problems. Her story goes back to the early 2000s, when the Royal Navy committed to building a new generation of aircraft carriers capable of projecting British force around the world. That effort created the Queen Elizabeth class, HMS Queen Elizabeth, and her sister ship, HMS Prince of Wales. Each was built to displace more than 65,000 tons, making them the largest carriers Britain had ever constructed. Instead of using traditional catapults, the design relied on short takeoff and vertical landing F-35B jets. This simplified operations but limited the variety of aircraft the carriers could support. When HMS Queen Elizabeth was commissioned in 2017, officials proudly called her the most advanced warship in Royal Navy history. But getting there was anything but smooth. What began as a £3.6 billion plan for two ships nearly doubled to more than £6.2 billion after political reversals, design changes, and long delays. One major shift came when the government abandoned a catapult and arresting system, similar to U.S. carriers, and committed fully to a STOVL design. That decision locked the ship into operating only F-35Bs and prevented the future use of heavier drones or fixed-wing early warning aircraft. Early testing revealed trouble too. During sea trials in 2017, engineers discovered a faulty propeller shaft seal that allowed hundreds of liters of seawater to leak into the ship every hour. It was an early hint that much larger problems lay ahead. One of the most embarrassing moments came in early 2024, when the carrier had to withdraw from NATO's Steadfast Defender exercise, the alliance's largest drill since the Cold War. A defect in the starboard shaft coupling was discovered just days before departure. Fearing a catastrophic failure at sea, the Royal Navy pulled the ship from the exercise and scrambled HMS Prince of Wales to take her place. And the problems didn't stop there. Since entering service, the ship has faced repeated mechanical breakdowns, many tied to the propulsion system. Analysts suspect some components may have been improperly manufactured or installed. In mid-2025, more issues surfaced during routine trials before a transit to Scotland. The Navy promised repairs during scheduled maintenance, but the fact that these failures kept returning raised questions about long-term reliability. Water intrusion has also been a recurring challenge early in the carrier's life. Faulty seals caused leaks, and in 2019, a ruptured pipe flooded several compartments. Later reports revealed that some sailors went more than 170 days without reliable hot water, an issue that highlighted deeper maintenance failures aboard a ship of this size and complexity. Then came an incident that drew global attention. In 2021, a British F-35B crashed while attempting takeoff from HMS Queen Elizabeth in the eastern Mediterranean. The jet accelerated up the ski jump ramp, but failed to gain enough thrust. Leaked footage showed the aircraft moving far too slowly before sliding off the bow. The pilot ejected just in time and landed back on the deck with minor injuries. Investigators later found that a foreign object, believed to be an intake cover, blocked airflow into the engine, preventing it from generating power. The incident was ultimately blamed on human error. Beyond the technical issues, the ship faces another significant problem: a shortage of aircraft. Although the carrier can operate dozens of F-35Bs, the UK initially bought only a small number. As a result, early deployments sometimes carried fewer than 10 British jets. During the ship's first major global deployment in 2021, nearly half of the jets on board actually belonged to the United States Marine Corps. While cooperation between the UK and the US is strong, critics argued that Britain's flagship should not have to rely on foreign aircraft to form a complete strike group. Still, HMS Queen Elizabeth has shown she can operate globally when fully staffed and supported. During the 2021 Carrier Strike Group deployment, she traveled more than 26,000 nautical miles, conducted operations across the Mediterranean, Indian Ocean, and Pacific, and even took part in combat missions against ISIS. These operations demonstrated that the UK can still project meaningful naval power far beyond its shores. But the weaknesses remain hard to ignore. Recurring propulsion failures, especially problems with the shaft couplings, have damaged her reliability. Her STOVL-only design limits the variety of aircraft she can operate, unlike catapult-equipped carriers. The F-35B is extremely expensive, costing well over $100 million per jet, and requires intensive maintenance. Its vertical landing style also puts additional strain on the flight deck. Combined with the limited number of available jets, these issues restrict the carrier's overall combat effectiveness. Sustainment has become another major obstacle. HMS Queen Elizabeth has spent long stretches of her service life in dry dock or undergoing repairs. Both carriers in the class have struggled with limited availability, which weakens the Royal Navy's operational reach. And because large carriers depend on destroyers, frigates, and supply ships for protection, the Navy's shortage of escorts further complicates deployments. Financially, the ship has become a costly endeavor. In 2020 alone, nearly £40 million was spent on maintaining HMS Queen Elizabeth and HMS Prince of Wales, with more than £18 million going directly toward HMS Queen Elizabeth. Costs have continued to climb due to leaks, floods, and repeated propulsion failures. The carrier's 2025 overhaul has become a significant effort aimed at improving reliability, modernizing key systems, and addressing persistent flaws. But every time the ship enters a lengthy maintenance period, the Royal Navy loses flexibility. The carrier cannot support major missions, NATO operations, or global commitments. That responsibility falls on fewer and fewer available assets. At the heart of the carrier's offensive capability is the F-35B Lightning II. These jets bring stealth, advanced sensors, and precision strike ability. Their STOVL design fits the ship, but the trade-offs are substantial. High cost, high maintenance, and added wear on the flight deck. And with limited numbers in service, the ship's full strike potential has yet to be realized. The carrier's reliance on a full escort group adds another layer of vulnerability. Without destroyers, frigates, and support ships, HMS Queen Elizabeth cannot safely operate in hostile regions, an ongoing challenge for a Navy facing manpower and fleet shortages. So, is HMS Queen Elizabeth a total disaster? Not exactly. It's a remarkable ship with enormous potential, and when it's fully operational, it represents Britain's commitment to maintaining a global naval presence. But the carrier has fallen short of expectations in some very important ways. Its frequent mechanical failures, long repair periods, and high cost have limited its usefulness. And in an era when military technology is rapidly evolving, it's fair to ask whether this giant, expensive ship makes sense for the threats the world faces today.